Alright, so we are back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video, and yes, we are going to be talking about the most recent event in North Carolina, which is the Celebrations, specifically the singles. And I'm going to go ahead and break down pretty much all the decks. I didn't do it last time, but I'm going to go through all 16. I'm going to couple them with every single leader and talk about all the things that I talked about before and a few other things, and basically answer the question, how did set 6 shift the meta? Basically, how did it create a meta shift? And there's a lot of different factors, but before I even get through that, there are a couple things to point out. That Lord Slug, shout out to Josh Bradley, not from Scouter Report, by the way, shout out to him though, but shout out to this guy because he went undefeated in Swiss, and I told everybody that Lord Slug was going to be good 2 months ago. If you didn't go check out that video and you're interested in Lord Slug or in my deck profile that I did before, definitely go look it up. I'll put it in the description. I'll put a screen image or the thumbnail here, and as well as anything else that you need. The other thing is that the huge representation, which I believe is very huge, and I'll kind of go over why this is kind of expected, but also not, is the 4 Goku in top in the second place for finals, and then Green Broly, which I believe is this one. Yeah, this one, which is orange for some reason, and this one is green when it's yellow. Anyway, it had 3 tops, and that's just crazy, and won the whole event. And I posted it in the community tab, which by the way will come up either if you go to my channel and then go to home, and then the community tab, you can actually see what I'm posting every so often. I've been posting a good amount of stuff in the last couple of weeks, and as well as it does pop up as a notification in your subscription. So definitely watch out for that, because I do want to hear everybody's opinions, and I do read all the comments. Don't worry about that. One of the things that I did ask is that what everybody was interested as far as the set 6 leader would squeeze into the top 16. We had a lot of votes for the Lord Slug down here. Obviously, Lord Slug, Young Badman saying, "'cause gay," that's definitely contributable, and a couple votes for Bojack and Red Frieza, etc. But really, the biggest thing was that 32% of you said Bansuke Goku, and that was completely right. We had 4 in the top, and then of course second place, and a lot of interest coming into that, with the SR being at 20, $30 for the SPR. A lot of people asking for lists, the list I posted last week or whatever, whenever that was. It's getting a lot of views, so I can tell that there's a lot of interest generated into that. And then Green Broly was the second one, so you guys are basically right on the money. But what I will say is that I've been talking about, you know, both of these decks. Well, maybe not the Green Broly deck. The Green Broly was like one of the ones that was very expected. There's another reason why there's a reason why I never did actually make a deck profile, because a lot of people would make it. One, and the other thing is that there's not very much discrepancy from the actual engine. If you're not playing the engine, you're probably playing a completely different deck. And I think there was one that was like a Super 17 Green Broly that was very interesting, and very interested in that. That sounds really cool. It's like a hand destruction type of thing, I guess. But if you're not playing the Broly line, either the starter deck one or the rare one, then you know it's gonna be completely different. But if you are, there's not gonna be too many cards away from that. And that being said, here is my Green Broly deck. There you go. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. It's just the one I've been using and been testing to understand the actual line, and to understand how the deck works, playing against it and playing with it. So there you go. Now, if we break it down for the leader breakdown, a lot of interesting things. So if we just took the set 6 in general, or the set 6 supported decks, I guess, in general. So we had 4 of the Kid Goku, all right, shout out to everybody who played him, and 3 of him, that's 7, and then we had 2 of the blue Gogeta, not the red one, but 2 of those, so that's 9, and then we had 1 Lord Slug, 1 Super Senran, and that's 11, right? So we had 11 set 6 base decks, basically, for this event. Now, the next part, before we go into all of the decks, is that we also have to understand the I guess the conditions, and as well as the properties for the event. So there's one, the set just released, right? So the surprise factor, the unknowing factor, the knowledge factor that goes into everybody's deck. Like you just don't know what another person's deck does until you actually play against it. So unless you've been testing, like I have been myself for the last couple of months with set 6, or if you just know the cards for whatever reason by watching my videos or whatever it may be, then you're gonna have a bad time, and you just won't know that matchup for the deck you're taking, especially if you're taking an older deck, like an old Janemba deck or an old Hirudegan deck, which by the way is not in the top 16. There you go, and etc. Right? So that's a huge part to consider. The second one, and this is all answering the question of how set 6 really shifted the meta. The second one is the amount of participants. So Team Wars had over 400 people, right? People got their participation prizes, and then the second day, most likely, either they couldn't play it or they didn't want to play the singles, which is pretty much the main event anyway. So this is wrong. This is there are like 230 people or so, not 110. So just to give you a heads up. So the amount of people definitely did change. So the variance changed as well for the event. So that's another factor. The last factor is that now we know what decks are good. And on the participation part, by the way, and the number of people with 230, there are only 6 rounds. So all these other events, like if we take a look at Vegas, which I attended, didn't do that well, but it was fun. And we had Hirudegan, we had Broly, we had Pan, we had Dragon Ball, Janemba, etc. Yamcha, that one top 16. And then in PPG, we had Hirudegan, Broly, Pan, Dragon Ball, etc. Right? And we take a look at this, with that 6 rounds, you would have to go either undefeated or go X1 and get lucky. With the other 2 events, you would have to go 8 rounds, and if you win X1, you're almost guaranteed a top, pretty much, either top 32 or top 16, or if you went undefeated, you were definitely top 8, definitely. But for this, it's a little bit different. You would have to go undefeated, and that's pretty hard in a new undiscovered meta, right? So I think that this was a really good event and a very exciting event to see, what came out of it. I'm very happy to see what come out of it. Slug, Kid Goku, etc. But the other part of it is that the real event to watch is Chicago, because I do believe that's next week or this weekend, I think. Yeah, this weekend. So after we see that, and we're going to see people's ideas of how to combat all of these decks, whether it's Lord Slug, which would be Tao. I mean, there you go. Bonds of Friendship. Red is a very good matchup for that. Or Leader Removal. The same thing for Broly. Either Hyper Aggro or something that's defensive that can go into aggro, etc. This Gogeta, have no idea, but it is a chain attack deck, I do believe. Most of the ones that people are playing. And then the Super Shenron is definitely going to be played more and more often. And I think Red, again, is another good candidate for that. Even Green, which Green Broly, by the way, is one of those things that could theoretically stop it, because it's just an early aggro deck. It has green things to kind of stop out the plays, like Explorer Bulma. You tap 3, preemptive strike, and now you're tapped out. Now I can kill you. That sort of thing. There's just little things that people aren't considering because we haven't seen that. Now we have the list. Now we get to go through it. It's going to be different. Now, I've kind of blabbed on enough, so let's get into the decks. All right, so the first one is the undefeated Lord Slug deck, which I love to see. And for this one, it's interesting to kind of take a look at. Obviously, he's playing 4 Paragus. A lot of people gave me crap for playing 4 Paragus instead of the Assimilate, and as well as the other super combo. I think the 2-drop Piccolo, basically. As I do like that, as far as to search your Lord Slug, but also search your super combo, it's whatever compared to Paragus, because Paragus is inherently better than even Hoi, because that you draw 2 and then warp 1. For Hoi, you have to pitch 1 and then draw 2. So that's one thing to consider. And for this deck, it's very techy, which I love. It's very much like I'm maximizing on all the things that I should have as far as 4-ofs, and then basically just focusing on the things that I really don't need. And you kind of put 1-ofs, 2-ofs of different tech choices comparing or combating different decks that you might have issues with. There is a whole deck profile that he put out. If I can find the link, I'll put it into the description as well. I'm not going to break down the deck better than he can. That's just not going to happen. But a few of the things to kind of consider is that he did mainboard double impact Krillin in expectation of Tau. So if anybody did catch on Lord Slug, which we now will, and I even said it in Joey's Crossroad TCG's Patreon when I wrote that article at the bottom. If you're not, I don't know what it was, but basically that if you're not going to be sideboarding or remaining Tau, then you really should be in order to get around this deck. Now that people know that it's actually decent slash very good, which I was saying, people are going to be maining or sideboarding Tau. So I would highly recommend to do that if you aren't already. But double impact Krillin, really good in the main. One more in the side deck. 2 energy to get rid of 1 card is annoying, but it is a necessary thing. Oh, excuse me, necessary thing to do. So we had 1 Gohan, which is interesting, for the 2 Champas, not only for the front side, but also just to take for game in case you're swinging for something and you need that double strike to end it. And then the Gohan's really good for draw and just to keep the hand advantage. Lord Slug doesn't have the best hand advantage, even regardless of the Quick Awakening, and as well as the front side taking a card, and as well as Paragus. But after a while, he kind of runs out of gas as far as card advantage. So more of these, and as well as other different options, if you're not ending the game quick enough with the hand destruction and swinging, then that might be something to consider. I don't really agree with the Toa. I explained this in my deck because you really want the stuff in your drop, so that way you can keep recursing or using the recursion. But that's just me. And then of course 3 the slug for the 4 drop this guy into this guy from your hand. It just makes all sense. It just gets everything going, and as well as wings at 4. Everything is very expected. The thing that's not expected is the Zamasu, the Banisher Fu. It makes sense because we have a lot of big boys in Baby Vegeta and as well as Broly, etc. So that way we can get that removal. Removal is something that's missing in Slug. That's why I put in the Kami. You can easily take that out if you want to just run Fu instead, but that's just me. And then 3 sacrifice, and as well as Shocking Death Ball, which I will not ignore the Father Star Kamehameha for the Broly decks. Very good tech choice in the main. So that's really good. And then 1 more on the side in case you are going to go against it, because that is probably the best card. And I told everybody in the article as well to also put that on the side. And I might do even a video. If you want to see that video, let me know as far as sideboard cards. But yeah. And then Heavenly Wizard Demigra, again, same thing. Same concept. If they get a turn 2 8-drop Broly or the Baby Vegeta, etc. So there you go. 2 more Banisher Fu. Again, more removal. It just makes sense. You're going to be dropping cards out of your hand more often than not, and as well as comboing. So there you go. And then TN, just to even further disrupt Janemba, which, not only Lord Slug running around, but also the Super Shenron we'll go over. It really just kills Janemba. Overall, really cool deck, very techy deck. A little far away from mine, but not too far away from most Slug decks. But yeah. All right, let's quickly look through the Janemba decks. This one is indeed playing the new Agent of Destruction. Some people were saying to take out Reality Bender, but I'm like, nah. A couple things to note is that he's running Vegito and as well as Vegeta, so that's interesting. I think Vegeta is better right now, only because you can go ahead and play him for 3, and then keep a Dimension Magic in your hand, and just untap 2 and awaken, and just do it that way. I mean, that's pretty much what you want to do as Janemba anyway. But Manfuba is really good. I think Borgos being main is really smart going forward. It's just going to get Crushed, so that's a bummer. And yeah, it's really weird to say that Janemba might not have a chance, but it might be true. This is not too far away from most decks. And the one of Cronoa in the side, Tau in the side. Man, I'd be maining that at this point, but that's just me. And then we got Anthony Hernandez, Mr. All About You, my man with the Trunks Power of Seeing Time tech. I actually do really like this one. And this is just to get any of your battle cards, your super combos, your Psyche Demons, your Rally Benders, whatever it may be, and I actually do like it. This is a solid deck. Unfortunately, he did run into the Super Shenron on stream, and he did get kind of bodied. We'll talk about that a little bit, but hey, shout out to him. as much as we all want to joke, I think he's perfectly fine. There you go. Okay. He did do well in Swiss still. Or 2. There you go. All right, now we got that single Pan. Man, Pan. She's a real testament. She is the old reliable. If anybody ever saw my deck on DBS decks, I see people peeping my decks. Don't act like I don't see it. But I do see. I do know that, you know, Pan is definitely old reliable. I think this is a pretty cool take. Not too far away again from a regular standard Pan. 3 D&D Vegeta and then 4 chain attack with the 3 double shot, which is interesting. I think double shot should be at 4 at all times. You can even reduce an after image or foreseeing hit. Like, honestly, foreseeing hit is amazing in a lot of different matches, but I think going forward, just to have that defense and draw is just too good. And then Tien Shinhan in Pan is amazing because he's a 1-drop 15k that becomes 20 and disallows any untaps, which is crazy. And then we have the Agent Destruction Vegeta, which is just really good. Like, there's not much to say. He had 3 minus Killy Zone on the side. I personally think you at least main 1 or 2, but that's just me. And Haru Haru. So yeah, all of this very standard, very good. Pan will always be, or always have a place in the meta. If you ever don't know what to play, just go play Pan. I'm telling you, she's always been great, and that might happen for me. Who knows? Now we got the 2 Brolys, which this is Broly Storm. Not much to say. He's playing 4 Mirror Creator's Absorb. He wants to make sure that you die. That is it. You know, a lot of 4-ofs. Very similar to Justin Rio's deck, I do believe. He played a lot of 4-ofs. I didn't personally like it. There was too much extra cards in his, but I mean, that's just me, I guess. But this looks very consistent in what he wants to do. 4 blockers, the 4 carrying Mother Videl for the draw. No Shigesh. There's no need for that right now, especially in this deck. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not much to say. He sided out Hana Mastery and Path of Greatness. There's, again, not much to say. It's just, it's something we've seen. It's a very good deck. I have nothing against it. That is it. Same thing for the Hana Mastery Broly, but this one does play the Victory Strike with a lot of different techs in it. So 1 dependable Dynasty Goku. So not going the swap route, but the Hana Mastery into Path of Greatness or Path of Greatness into Hana Mastery into Victory Strike Goku. And then now we have the Fully Unleashed Bardock. Again, another thing that I said in Joey's article. I'm sorry, but I did say it in that one. I was just like, you know, go put this in your deck, because I was just like, it's a good card. And I'm pretty sure I said it. Whatever, dude. Because it's a free cost 5 overwhelm, and you warp anything with 6 or more after it's played. So this really does well against Broly, because if they have 2, you can just warp both of those bad boys, and they would have to waste 2 to get more. But if they're at both 8 drops and you're somehow still alive, especially against this deck, because the green Broly deck kills these type of decks. But you know, whatever. This is a really good card for that. And 3 Battering, okay. 2 Cronoa, okay. 1 Shigesh, 1 Jocko. I would personally just do 3 Pure-Hearted, but maybe it's just, I don't know, just preference, I guess. But you see, I mean, it makes sense what he's trying to do. Just a lot of cards, a lot of stuff going on. The 4 Universe 7 representative, most likely for slower matchups. Vegeta for Barrier. Demigra, people really trying to tech that in for Broly as well as Baby, so that's cool. And then Crusher Ball, really good in the upcoming format and the current one, so that's cool. And then, of course, a Post Trunks and a Mirror for the Tanumba. Now let's get into the Green Broly. So shout out to Brian Reed. I know we were supposed to do like an interview / deck profile, but I know 3xG had it, so please go check that out if you haven't, or if you're not sub to 3xG, you should be. But yeah, this is a good deck. I don't have anything against it. This is a similar idea to what I was going for, just without the yellow side. I just didn't give the side a chance or any thought. I don't think I run this at 4 either. You know what? It's not that similar then. But this is definitely a good deck. The Golemite is interesting because this one says that you combo it and you gain 5k, additional 5k on a Broly. a lot of people will swear by it, and I think it's okay. You know, it's nothing crazy. 2 Dragon's Awakening in case the chain stops. The Secret, obviously, which makes sense. Mira and as well as Champa, I've always swore by that. He doesn't run Bad Ring with the yellow, so it doesn't matter. I'd imagine that Preemptive Strike gets sided out for the yellow, so that way you can be good to go and be a little more consistent with that, and less consistent. Or if you kept this one and added the yellow, you'd be less consistent with Preemptive. So there you go. Father Son Kamehameha for the Mirror, Tien Shinhan for the Janemba and blue matchups. Time to Fight is an interesting tech. I'm guessing it's for the Vegeta, but I don't know. I really don't know what you would play against it. Kind Wish is really good. I hope to see that more into green Broly decks. Here's another green Broly deck. This one has the Super 17. This is the one I was talking about that topped. So this one had the 3-drop Super 17, the 4-drop that makes you drop 2, which is amazing because you get to just use his effect after you drop 2, and if you get multiple ones, like 2 of them, you can just drop 2, swing with leader, and just draw those 4 cards while they drop 2, which is hilariously cool. So hopefully we'll see more of this sort of tech and as well as this idea. But 4 Paragus, 2 Paragus for this one, so that way you can do whatever you want in case you can't pop on your side and their side. This guy for the Union Absorb, so that's always good. This for Paragus, yeah, for this Paragus. So I mean, all of this is very cool. I think the addition with Super 17 is also very, very cool. And of course, a yellow side. Very similar. Are you guys friends or something? All right, one more. This one's from David Sublet. So this one has the yellow side, or yellow main. I do believe this guy was the first place, right? Am I right? I should probably look that up before I even talk about this. But if anything, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the first place winner deck with the main of 4 Kobo, less 2 Frieza Call, 3 Master Roshi, which I love these. I don't like the Master Roshi in Broly only because you can't play him if you have 2 battle cards, but I do believe that's just going to be something that you have to plan out. And especially with the Paragus Sacrifice, you can kind of play the counter, have him on the field, and then pop him. Well, actually, he's a green battle card, so you can't do that. So, even more. But I mean, he got first place. So what am I even saying, right? Frieza Call for all the other targets like Paragus here, which I think you have to be playing for your hand, so you can't really do that. But you can play this Paragus, which is good. And then you could play a Paragus super combo, but really the target's going to be him, and as well as him for the Frieza Call. So pretty cool, pretty cool. And then this is more focusing on black because you don't have to side out the yellow, so you have more options for that. The 6-drop Broly, that's an interesting tech right there. Nice, I guess. And the 1 extra second Shocking Death Ball because he only played 2 counters, so reducing the amount of green that you had to play, I guess. Yeah, okay, so 3 counters in Master Roshi, 1 more extra one in Shocking Death Ball with 3 to 3 is always a good ratio. 2 to the Bojack, which is cool. I'm guessing it's for the Janemba because as soon as you have a Broly out and then this Bojack out, you just go ahead and make sure that the Janemba doesn't swing, which is nice, right? 2 minus Killing Zone for the Mirror or for green leaders, which makes sense. And then everything else is just kind of silver bullets / recursion. Now my baby boy Kid Goku. So there's a lot of cool variants for this guy, and I'm happy to see that. I really am. So this man is wild because he is playing 6 4-star Dragon Balls, but he is playing also 12 vanillas, and as well as the leader requires for both. So that's pretty dope. Just like I was saying in my deck profile, you can play 5 or you can play 7. Like it doesn't matter. You can play 4, but pretty cool. This one is interesting because he doesn't have the 7-drop Gogeta in his side or in the main, even though you have the targets for Union Fusion and as well as for Vegeta. But no, I'm very interested in seeing how Preface actually worked out for him. I'm guessing it's just a, theoretically 1-drop that you can just swing with. Awakened Italian Pan is really good because you can just awaken at 6. The Black Man Saiyan is always good tech. That was something I was saving for myself, but now it's out there. I mean, it's not that. I mean, anybody can really figure that one out. This is really good. This is really good for this card because of your super combos, 1-drop, pan, everything else are all Saiyan. So your deck alone is going to be good. Personally, and this is what I played last week for release. I played for testing. So before release, I was playing this for testing. I was playing Blue Gogeta, Bon's Goku with a similar build without the preface, with Gogeta, with this guy, and as well as Demigra. So there's a lot of win cons, and it worked out pretty well. I think I went 4-1 or something. I don't remember, but it was pretty cool. But Senzu Bean, Power Burst, it's just really good. Just really good overall defensive deck, and you can go aggro with all of the vanillas. And of course, the Demigra still on the side. Tien Shinhan at 4. You are wild, boy. But makes sense if you're trying to get as many bodies as you can. And then Cronoa, Toki Toki, all make sense. No Dende. A lot of Dende in this, or not that many Dende in the sides here. Except for that one that we just looked at. So another blue version. This one is looking like a little more tech. The Demigra Secret is in here. The Dubura instead of the Great Saiyaman for the Black Mass Saiyan. 4 of the Training Buddy Krillin. So I guess 2 for 2. He's a really strong card, and I really like him. If I found more room for him, I would have done it, but I just don't. But the Surprise Attack Frieza looks pretty cool because you get to proc it off these guys over here, or if you just swing into something and KO it. Another one in the side in case you want to put a little bit more pressure, 2 Champa instead of 3, but whatever. Barlock Fulling Unleashed, again, another good tech card. Hopefully that will go up. Cool build. And we got another blue, yellow, or red-blue deck. I'm surprised that we didn't see too many red-black. I mean, I put up that deck profile just because I wanted to have a starting point for everybody and to kind of show how to understand the deck. And I think black-red is really good. Shout out to Josh, who is playing black-red, who has the Chi-Chi and all the other stuff in it. Really good deck, but still pretty similar to the last one. Just with the preface, the Surprise Attack, the Commanded Red, which I still don't really agree with, but a lot of people do like it, so the Gogeta in the side, but this one is the 5-drop for draw, and as well as removal, so that's good. Temporal Trunks, with the last 2 running Temporal Trunks as well. These guys have the exact identical deck. I wonder if they're friends. Just a different side. And finally, the second place black-red, or black-yellow, there you go, second place winner, the Isaiah Herring, which I love this deck. I think, unfortunately, black-yellow is the way to go. Wishmaker Dende is really good tech. Krillin is also amazing. With this Krillin is also good. I don't agree with the Dementia Support Trunks, but I'm sure he got some use out of it. I'm the World Champion is busted because you get to draw 2 for 1, which is a stupid. The side makes sense because of this Flying Nimbus and as well as Tien and Trunks, which I'm guessing is just to get to Demigra, and then the removal over here just in case you need it. I personally made it in my yellow one, but that's just me. I'm not second place at North Carolina, but overall very good. Go check out his video. If anything, I'll include it. Now finally, Danny Wynn. I hear that this is the deck that beat Eric Goodwin, which is funny. But that stream was great. Like, shout out to Eric Goodwin. I joke a lot, but that was pretty cool. I hear that he got it from him, and as well as Jordan Beard, I do believe. I know you and I talked on Untap, so I'm happy to shout out your name. And yeah, I mean, this deck is going to be one of the decks to beat going forward. Storm never dies, right? Just like in the words of Matthew Combs, Storm never dies. And as long as we have for free mechanisms and as well for free swap, it will never die. Bandai hasn't really addressed it other than FR Goku and Bargos and a couple other things. But the fact that it does exist, it's just hard, right? So if you want answers to this deck, which, I'm not going to go into it too much. The main gist of it is that you play the swap engine, you get as many people on the board, you get the Successor Hope to keep going, you use it, or keep going into your drop. You use the Child's Wish to explore Bulma after you use the swap mechanics, so that way you untap 2 and draw. You use Crash the Crusher to get rid of the Golly Destruction Whis, and as well as Borgos. You use Personal Ambition as a free wish or a wish in general to keep playing your plays. And then you keep going and attack as much as possible until you have 27 and drop. Take another turn, attack as much as possible, or Scientist Fu first, and then take another turn, Scientist Fu again, after you use the +4 emboldenment to drop 2 to 3 cards, and then just win. That's basically what it is. I mean, there's not much to say, right? It's just super plus, and is really good. He is obviously thinking about the counters, which are the Whis and the Bargos in the FR or the Crashes Crusher Goku, playing it at 4 for the side. But then the other part of it is that the new Veku has barrier, and as well as do the same thing as Whis and as well as the Bargos. But the thing is that he's really only reliably played in the Gogeta decks, so we don't really have an answer for this deck as far as the Whis and Bargos, so that's kind of annoying. And then of course we have Cronoa and then Tien, which, man, if you didn't see that match, I'm telling you, it's crazy. The 2 Crusher Ball, 1 Flying Nimbus, which he's only playing 1, which makes sense. You really don't want to bog down your hand with extra cards, and it's just a nice little negate, so that way you can go ahead and keep going for the next turn. The Son Goku Awakened Power is obviously just a joke. He won the side event that won it all as far as the Son Goku, the secret rare, and that's why you put it in there. That's my guess. If anybody else has sent something else, let me know. And now the last 2 decks are the red blue Gogeta ramp, right? The Veku. 3xG just put out a video on this. If you didn't see it, go check that out. It's really cool. I think this is one of the coolest decks out there right now, other than Kid Goku. And the reason for that is because of the vicious ramp that comes out of it, where you play these guys early game and you search for the guys early game, you remove whatever you need to and kind of defend that. There's only 2 Senzu Bean with 2 in the side, which is interesting, and 2 Mafuba, which is also interesting. But you pay for 3 for all these dudes to Union Fusion, and then as soon as he blocks, you gain 2 cards into your energy area, being at 5, and then right after that you go to the next turn with 6 energy, and you get to play a Kefla, you get to play a Gogeta, you get to play at all costs, you get to play this guy for 8, which, yes, you can play this guy, doesn't have a restriction, but he only swings 2, get an energy and a life, which is just awesome. And then Dragonfish Goku is always good in this kind of deck for seeing hit at 4. There you go. Like this deck and the next one are very, very cool. I'm very happy that this guy gets some recognition as he deserves. Will he be around more? I think so, because not only that, again, I said this again in a previous video, that we do need to start focusing on these types of cards or leader cards that have an inherent removal, and this guy does it really well in paying for 2, putting something at the bottom, one of their cards, which is good against the Green Broly and whatever, and then right after that taking an energy, which you're going to have a lot, and drawing 2. You just plus a lot, you ramp up super fast. It's just great. And I'm sure against leaders that attack him quite a lot, you can switch out the objections for pans or something else. So overall, very cool deck. And of course, here's the other version, or the other deck that other people played, another person played, pretty cool. This one has Chain Attack, which the other one did not. This one has the Chain Attack Zeno, which I completely agree with, because what happens is that you get to ramp as quickly as possible, get the 5 energy, and then right after that, Chain Attack Zeno, and then reset the board. And then right after that, you take an energy, you draw 2 cards, and you just pass turn. And that's it, because now you're at a 7-card hand. They're at 2 to 3 energy while you're at 6, and then life is good, right? The minus Killy Zone, the set 3 Senzu Bean, which is interesting, and then 2 for the Destruction Champa for a little more aggression, and then 2 Mira, because it makes sense. And then of course the Stratum Mystery, that's just a staple in kind of these ramp decks. So very, very cool. I love these 2 decks. They're really cool. Also, shout out to Young Batman. I know he loves this deck as well, or these type of decks. But overall, very, very cool. And I think I'm missing 2 super combos. That's the only thing that's kind of funny there. So this guy plays 4, this guy plays 2. I'm guessing he's like, I don't want to charge them, so I just didn't play them at 4. Okay. Cool beans, man. That really wraps up everything. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the breakdown before. Subscribe if you are new. I think I talked a lot here. It's probably gonna be a long video, so I apologize for that. But if you made it through this entire time, I really do appreciate you. Like, dislike, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.